And from Chicago, Windy City Underground Sports proudly presents the show where everything sports, everything Chicago. KJ Sports Talk.
Alrighty. Good afternoon, everybody. How's it going? My name's KJ, and you are on KJ Sports Talk. We got a lot to unpack today. We're gonna get into the recent preseason game against Brazil. We're gonna talk about that, their performances. Talk about the Cubs, the White Sox. We're gonna get into like the Bears and all that. We might have a guest on today. You never know, but first thing first, I want to talk about the Sky preseason game. They had a It was actually a pretty good game. They beat Brazil. Give or take, it was like preseason, and then it was going against the younger Brazil rosters who had like 4 incoming freshmen on their team. Or 4 girls on their team who will be freshmen in college this upcoming season, like in a couple months. One of them so happens to be the invite to. He will be committed to the University of Illinois in Champaign, so South Carolina. So you had that, and so it's like like I said, you're talking about, like I said, you're going against a lot of younger girls, going against college, going against professionals. So, but, they blew them out. Great score. We're going to get to the stats in a second. But I want to talk. So I was able to watch the first half of the game. I seen the highlights to the second half. So, and from my eyes, this is, it was pretty, from my eyes, this is what it was. Sorry, it was taking me a minute. It was a pretty good game. We got to see in that game. We got to see Haley Van Lith her first game as a pro, even though she didn't play to the second half. First half, was pretty much the starters and some of the main bench players getting some licks. And their starting lineup consisted of 3 guards. Consisted of Courtney Vandersloot, Ariel Atkins, Kia Kurse, and Angel Reese and Camila Cardoza. That's just their starting lineup. You could definitely tell this is more so Angel team. Like, even if you watch like the introductions, you can see like if you're playing basketball and with the introduction, typically the last player to get introduced for the starting lineup is typically like the biggest player on the team typically the most valuable, aka the leader of the team. And so that's Angel's turn. It's her team. So it's good to have Courtney Sloop back. Like I said, they didn't really do too much. Camilla played 19 minutes. Nice to see her. She was going against her team, so great to see that. Then you have Kia Kerr. She played like 12 minutes. Angel Reese got 16 minutes. So but pretty good game. I want to speak on Angel Reese specifically. She had a great game. 7 for 10 from the free throw, so she's looking better. 4 for 7. She was shot 57% from the field. Some of her layups was looking good. Sorry, but no, seriously, she played a lot of great game. Even in like with her transitioning, like her rebounding and transitioning, you could definitely tell. Like you could definitely tell like her transitioning, like when she get the ball, she's pushing a fast break, trying to figure it out. She's pushing a fast break like a Joakim Noah. I heard recently that her game was compared to Noah, and honestly, I agree. She's definitely like one of those like players that can play the 4 or 5. She obviously can rebound, she could defend. She's not much of an offensive player, but she can get you like 10, 15 points a game. 15, 17 is like, I feel like her is a good range for her. Like last year she averaged 13, but this year I'm pretty sure she might average more. Her playmaking skills look better. It was like one play in particular when she was past the Angel, where she caught a rebound, took it like almost to half court, and then she threw a pass to Camila Cardoza. So you could tell like you could tell like even with the transitioning of that she's looking up, she's looking to make plays, she's looking down the court, she's trying to see who's to see if she could get an easy bucket. Because one of the things that was mentioned throughout the game was how Tyler Marsh wants the Sky to score points in the fastest possible. So look to see the fast break. The Sky last season they sucked from the three, like they was one of the bottom teams with 3-point shooting. Even then, like this year I mean, this game, like I know it's just one game, but it's like you're looking for signs of they're aggressive, so you can see they're kind of aggressive from the 3-point line and shooting and all that. So even in like their defense was aggressive. Like once they took like Angels out and they got some more guys, people in like McKella, like Michaela Unaware, Rebecca Allen, some other people like Mariah Jefferson, even Elizabeth Williams coming back. So they was playing. But you could definitely tell like a bigger difference in the way things was played. So another example, like Haley Van Lith, but we're gonna talk about her. Her second half, she played like 7 minutes in it and all that. No, she played. I'm sorry, she played 13 points. She had seven. She played 13 minutes and had 7 points. But we're gonna get into the. I mean, but enough of that. We're gonna talk a little bit about. You're gonna go in, but I mean, Sky has some games coming up. Like they have a game tomorrow against the Minnesota Lynx, preseason games. Then they're gonna open up their season like in a couple weeks, probably on the 17th when they go against the Indiana Fever in Indiana. So look forward to that. Then, as I mentioned some episodes ago, they're gonna be playing the Fever in Chicago in June, and that game is so big. It's gonna be at the United Center. Already looking at tickets, like some of the like nosebleeds are already going for like over 200. So I look forward. Hopefully, I'm gonna try to get tickets to that game, but I look forward to that. And I'm looking forward to this season with Angel Reese. So it's like knowing that what the work that she's put in, like she's worked with Lisa Leslie over the summertime. It's doing her tenure with the Unrivaled League. So her post game, like you could definitely tell like a big difference where her post game is looking better. She looks faster. She looks more comfortable handling the ball. So those are just some of the things that I picked up on. So and her finishing looks 10 times better. She looks like she's gonna be a better player. She looks like and that's like I said, albeit that's only one game, but you could definitely tell like okay that this is something that she's going for. That yes, her game has improved. And as a rookie, she played okay, but this year she's probably gonna play better. Understandably, Caitlin Clark, she's gonna be MVP for years, for weeks. For years to come. As she should. But that's even better. But like I said, I'm so looking forward to this. My expectations for the Sky is possibly a late playoff seed. So I'm looking forward for that. For them to be in a late playoff seed. I'm gonna talk now. We're gonna get into a little bit about the football. With the Bears, I know that they have some things coming up. So that's gonna talk about their off-season program. Like now that their draft is out the way, so their mini camp they're gonna be hosting their mini camp and coming up in a couple of days. At the end of the week is currently Cinco de Mayo today, but so they're gonna be hosting their mini camp like later on in the week, from Friday on May 9th to the May 12th. So when we get a first chance, so now we got our first chance to see the rookies at work. Finally in the NFL. So you definitely get to see, you know, sorry about that. You get to see the likes of Luther Burden, the junior, Luther Burden. I doubt it if Colston Loveland's going to be ready to compete because they say he should be ready to go by training camp. But so rookie mini camp is probably not going to be go for him. So he may participate, he may not. So but definitely Luther Burden, Ruben Hippolyte, my favorite pick, Cal Mungai. You get the Mungai. Sorry if I keep butchering his name, but you get to see that go from him. So you get to see them. You get to see the offensive line, Ozzy Trapolo. Then after that, we have OTAs. So which starts up in a couple of days. which could span from the May 20th. So you're gonna look to see for their OTAs. Then after the OTAs, you have mandatory minicamp, which is from June 3rd to the 5th. So that's a game that we're gonna be. I mean, that's where we like the workout's gonna really ramp up at, and you get to see that. You get to see how they mesh with how the rookies mesh with the veterans. So you get to see those. So now you start getting a feel for that, like an early depth chart look to that. So now you get to see like how Rome match up, with Luther, how that works out. The combination of Rome, Luther, DJ Moore, even Omalas, the Caius, guys like those, you get to see that, or Devin Duvernay. You get to see those combinations. Then you get to see like the Roshan Johnson, the DeAndre Swift with the Cal Manga, like how we're gonna run that. Like, is it gonna be like who's gonna be like the two down back, who's gonna be like a power back, the goal line back, or the gadget players? You get to see some of that. You get to see how Caleb Williams, you get to see their transition. You get to see how he picks up. Then you get to see the combination of Cole Coastal Loveland. So all that so you get to see those combinations. Then we start looking at our defensive line. Then we start seeing the Shamar Turners, the Javon Dexters. We get to see those combinations of edge rushes, the interior rush with Grady Jarrett. Then we get to see Montez Sweat Jr., Dio Odinkbo, all those edge rushes. Then you can see Austin Booker to see what charges, what improvement he made from year one to year two. The root, like I said, the Ruben Hippolytes, you get to see how those going to go with our linebacker combination with TJ Edwards, Tremaine Evans. We already know those are two main ones. Now we get to see the potential, the third starting linebacker. Is that going to be Noah Swell or, Ruben? So those are guys. So we're going to do that. Then we go to our defensive backs. Our first three is kind of set with Tariq Stevens, Kyler Gordon, and and Jalen Johnson. So then we also get to see guys like Terrell Smith, who made his case as being a great backup cornerback. Zob Frazier, so the rookie cornerback from University of Texas, El Paso. San Antonio. So we get to see that. So we get to see him come in and play that. Jaquan Brisker is back. Hopefully he can stay healthy this time. Even Kevin Byer, Elijah Hicks, Jonathan Owens. So you get to see those guys, see how they play, see what the Bears are going to be doing at safety. Around the league, around that time, we're going to start seeing undrafted free agency. So we're going to see guys like Shiloh, how he going to perform with Tampa Bay. Is he any remnants of Deion Sanders himself with the coverage? You get to see Shador, who's going to get the Brunny treatment, who's already getting like a similar like Brunny treatment, because right after the draft, it's been reported that his jersey is top 10 selling in the league as far as amongst the rookies. And he's a 5th round pick. So you get to see that. You get to see the Travis Hunter of the packages that he's going to be in. Obviously he's weird. He's being brought in as a receiver, but you get to see like some of his cornerback packages. Then, in August, after the Hall of Fame game, you get to see the preseason, and best believe I'll probably be watching closely to this preseason more than I have any other preseason, because obviously, I want to see the Bears, I want to see how they use the rookies, obviously, and there's a lot of questions in Chicago. You want to see Ben Johnson, you want to see some of his plays, you want to see Declan Moore, you want to see Eric Bieniemy, you want to see Al Harris, how their defense is transpiring. You want to see the Dennis Allen defense. You want to see those guys. You want to see us getting after the quarterback. You want to see that old school Chicago Bears, that traditional Chicago Bears defense, that's great turnovers, that wreak havoc. You want to see the monsters of the midway. You want to see the line, you want to see how our line perform. And knowing what Ryan Post, what he said, is most likely Darnell Wright is probably going to stick on the right side and he's almost guaranteed to be our right tackle. And Ozzie Trapolo is going to be pushing Braxton Jones out for the left tackle position. So we're going to see that combination. I think, Braxton Jones, but hopefully Braxton Jones might win. And I'm thinking he deserves the chance to win, because now he's finally going to have somebody on his side and not taken away from Tevin Jenkins, but Joe Tooney, who's a more refined pass rusher. He's a more reliable one. Obviously, he's definitely, he's probably had the best resume out of all offensive linemen in the NFL. Check his resume, who he blocked for. He blocked for Tom Brady. He blocked for Patrick Mahomes, and now he gets to block for Caleb Williams, whose name obviously is going to be compared to them. So So we get to see that. Get to see Jonah Jackson's back, in the in the scene that he's familiarity with, because his best season as a pro is under Ben Johnson. So then you get to see Drew Dalman, how he, obviously, like as I've been saying, that he get to learn from Joe Tooney. So he has Joe Tooney on his side. So obviously I expect Joe Tooney to be the voice of the line, until Drew Dalman, picks up on it. Maybe sooner than later, then Drew Dalman becomes the voice of the line. Because if you watch football and you understand football, and I understand a little bit of it, I do know that um I do know that typically the center is like the voice of the line. So you could tell, like, Travis even with the Travis Kelsey's, I mean, not Travis, the Jason Kelsey's, the Jeff Saturdays, the Olin Krutz, of those guys, you can look and see, like, okay, that those centers, they ran their line, the quarterback runs to everything else, including, but they have a say so. But the centers, they typically are running the line, and the combination, and it's a voice between those two. So obviously you get to see that, like I said, I'm so excited for that. I'm also excited for baseball season. With the Cubs, I'm a little, well, somewhat excited. I'm kind of disappointed because my guy, the top shoulder, Mr. Shota Imanaga, a couple of days ago, the day before yesterday, he left the game with a apparent leg injury. Um, Prior to that, he left his previous appearance before that, but it was more so cramps. Now it's a leg injury. It's like, so I'm hoping that he has a speedy recovery, because obviously he's my favorite player on the Cubs, and I do want to see it. And I was hoping to see a game this year with him pitching. So I'm still looking forward to that. Still trying to figure out what game I want to go to for the Cubs game. But um, I'm like I said, I'm not the biggest Sox fan, but shout out to the Sox as well. They've been, they're doing better than last year. And shout out to the Colorado Rockies. Um, they're the Colorado Rockies. They make the Sox look better than usual. So I mean, so if you're a Sox fan, you get a chance. You get to say, okay, at least my team is no longer the worst team in the league this year. Um, so yeah, so definitely you get to see that. Like I said, we get to do all that. And another thing is, so I want to talk, I want to take the time to talk about something that's going on in my personal life, which relates to sports, because like now that I'm in sports broadcasting, y'all see with the radio show and all. So one of the things that I'm doing, and I personally get to do, is, so I'm gonna be doing interns with the Chicago Dogs. So I'm excited for that opportunity, which is a baseball team, and they're right under, and from my understanding, they right under a single A ball. So I'm excited for that. I've been to their stadium once. I have was practicing with the cameras. I'm super excited. Maybe that might be my future career, being a cameraman for sports. Always, like I said, now I'm learning. Wanted to be an athlete when I was younger. Now that I'm older, it's like, and I realized that being an athlete might not is no longer in my dreams. I mean, my wishes or possible careers. I get to be, still be close to the sports, which is something that really is important to me, because, like I said, sports is really my heart. So, and it's something that one thing that keeps me going at days. So with that, I want to talk about that opportunity. So I'm gonna keep y'all posted, as long as I'm doing the show. Keep y'all posted on my opportunities with the Dogs. So definitely, if you're Chicagoland and you in the area, definitely go to Chicagoland area. Watch the Dogs. They're gonna be they play in Rosemont at Impact Field. They do awesome giveaways. On Wednesday they do like dollar hot dogs. They have, the stadium looks amazing, and this is, not saying it because I'm going to potentially be interning there, but no, from like as a fan standpoint of view, like, this stadium looks amazing. It's really going to be fun. But taking on to other things, one thing I want to get into, like, I've been arguing with my friends since Thursday about the LeBron versus Jordan debate. I'm gonna get my little input on that. I think Jordan's the GOAT. And I hate, and I think because he's a better all around player than LeBron, and I hear all the time that they say LeBron's better all around, and I want to express how I feel about that. And it's not that and I want to say he's not better all around, you know. Because when you think of all around, you really think basketball, football. I mean, you think offense, defense, but LeBron, he has good high rebounds, has good high points, and good high assists. And I'm guessing people look at those stats and say, oh, yeah, he's a great all around player. But reality is he's not. I mean, he can play defense, but he doesn't. His effort is lacking at some points in the game. Mentally, he's not always there. So it's like he give up defensive plays. He's not the best offensive player. So it's like those numbers, sometimes they're inflated by too much, versus Jordan, like Jordan just wants to win. Like his number reflects that, hey, I wants to win. Like look at his game. Like his game reflects that. Like Jordan wasn't like he's may been like Jordan wasn't necessarily flashy. Like all his points, like all his acrobatics was for a purpose. Like they wasn't like to always wow the crowd. I mean, yeah, sometimes like you get a fast break dunk, he might bring out rock the cradle, get a little flash with that, but a lot of his dunks was vicious. He was dunking over people like, hey, like I'm going over the top of big man to get, if I have to do that, to dunk on you just to get a point, whatever it takes to get a point. Like, look at his contested layup. A lot of the fashion layups today's come from Jordan, era, that comes from Jordan, what he was doing, the Dr. J's and stuff like that. And another thing I want to say is, I always have another argument that I hear with the Jordan LeBron debate is that Jordan played against plumbers and stuff and mailmen. It's like probably one of the dumbest things that I've heard, honestly speaking, because like those guys were skilled. They still like better than their skill. Like if you put them today, they're better than 90%, 95% of the people walking on this planet right now. So their skill level is good. But if you understand evolution and stuff, then you would know that obviously their skill is not going to be as good as the players after them. Because I correct me if I'm wrong, but the goal of the generations is to be, but the goal for the generation after a generation is to be better. Like, so my generation is supposed to be better than the generation before me, and the generation after me is supposed to be more advanced and better than than mine. So I would have a problem if Jordan generation wasn't better than LeBron's. You know, I mean, I would have a problem if Jordan generation was better than LeBron's, because which is false and all that. And yeah, and you can see Brandon. He definitely said the Sox are definitely more fun to watch this season. But I mean, shout out to him. And yes, you could say that the only person in his era doesn't. Isaiah Thomas is the only person of Jordan era that doesn't say Jordan's the GOAT. And yes, and for all those who don't know why, it's because Isaiah is a Chicago native. Isaiah Thomas is a Chicago native, and just like me, he's a Chicago West Side native, just to be more specific. But in LeBron, I mean, Jordan is more loved in Chicago than Isaiah, and Isaiah's probably Chicago the most hated player in Chicago. And because he played for the Bad Boy Pistons, which is cool and exciting. I mean, like I said, and it goes back to all that Jordan impact. But back to the like my arguments though. But like I get it though. Like I said, I get LeBron debates. I get why they. Sometimes I get why they say it, because you look at some of the stats, they're inflated. Like, yes, LeBron has better career numbers, total numbers. Some of his averages are better, but let's face the fact. Like, but when you talk about the GOAT, like, what are we talking about though? Like, we talking about the greatest basketball player of all time. Uh, Sorry, give me a moment. I'm trying to get a guest situated. Um, but no, but back to the Jordan thing. But it's like it's crazy. Like you would think, like, and a lot of times, like I really, uh, 1 second. So we have a, guest joining, and before I bring him onto the stage, just give you a heads up about this guest. Close friend of mine. Of one of is like we call each other's brother from another mother. So I'm gonna get him in, and then we're gonna get his input on the Jordan versus LeBron debate. So, uh, how's it going?
Oh, it's going good, brother. How you been? Brother from another mother, man. Oh, we
I've
we
been,
talking about LeBron versus Jordan? Oh man, this is my
yeah.
conversation right here, man.
So
This is
what
my
you think about it?
conversation. Oh man, I think they shouldn't be compared. I think they both great. I can say that.
Yeah,
Guaranteed, both great. Both great.
but you know it's got to be. You know, with this conversation, you know it gotta be a goat, and I always bring it up because, like I said, me and my friend, me and my other friend, we've been arguing about it since. Well, we argued about it in the past, but we've been really arguing about it since Thursday about it.
Yeah,
So, what's your opinion? So, who do you think like the greater player is?
I'm gonna have to say from clips that I've seen and hearing from my uncle and everything I've seen about Jordan, I ain't grow up on him directly. I'm born in '97. You get what I'm saying? But I have to
Yeah,
say Jordan for the sake of the gameplay, the mindset of the player. Jordan was a finisher and he knew how to use the team. I could say LeBron, he knew how to use the team, but I don't think he really a closer. You get what I'm saying? Had that killer instinct, that dog, that you get what I'm saying, me over everybody, not even me over everybody, but you get what I mean? Like just like having that star player, like really have like burying that hatchet like Jordan did, finishing game, dunking on motherfuckers. Excuse my language, but you know what I mean?
yeah.
I love LeBron, but I have to say Jordan, man.
But like I said, and that's why I said it's like, and I think about it like, and I look at it like as an all around standpoint, like with Jordan, it's like you see him, like you see what he done for the league, and you see his stats, like, and one of the things I want to bring up is like Jordan has led the league in over 21 different stats. LeBron has led the league 5 times and just in totals, like stats total, like around that much. So it's like, and we're talking about like Jordan, and let's be honest, and Jordan has led the league more times in field goals attempts than he did in field goals attempts missed. So that's to show you something. Like he probably led the league, I think, 9 times in total field goals attempts, and he led the league 7 times in field goals attempt missed. So that goes to show you, like, if there's one to show you like his efficiency range, yes, Jordan took a lot of shots, but that was his role. And a lot of things I want to say is like maybe LeBron role hampered him. Like it made him, it didn't make him as good as what he could have been. Because like with Jordan, like he was a great like on ball defender. Unlike me and LeBron could be a great on ball defender, but the problem is he's not. Like he doesn't put in the effort to be it. Like he's kind of like one sided. Like he will give you effort and he will like give you a chase down block, but let's be honest, like, is it really real defense? Like, it's not the same as somebody sitting down in front of you, guarding you, trying to figure out which way you're gonna go. And then, one thing about Jordan, unlike LeBron, he wasn't saved from the defense. Like Jordan played in an era where his own defense was illegal, so you couldn't hide your weak defenders. So it's like you had to guard somebody. Like you had to know how to guard. Versus today, you
Yeah,
can play his own and you can hide you can
yeah,
hide your weak defender. Like, okay, you're not good on perimeter. We could stick you in the zone, make you play in the post, and just guard the post, and just maybe you may have to step out on a corner three or something, or maybe guard a mid range. But we'll put our best defenders on the perimeter and leave them there.
yeah. I'm glad you pointed that part out because it's a major time difference, and within that time difference, the NBA changed a lot.
Yeah,
So it got to the point where, like you saying, Jordan grew up in the era where it was just like it was damn near street ball, but now it's like LeBron era is police ball. You get what I mean? It's a lot, in comparison. Jordan wasn't looking for fouls back then. LeBron big on flopping around, trying to make plays that way. You get what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's just, I don't
And
know.
this is not to discredit LeBron. It's just like I just hate. It's more so like envious towards his fans. Like, okay, I get it. Like I used to be a LeBron fan myself, and it was like I don't know if you remember, but it was like when we was like in school. So I stopped being a LeBron fan after he left for Miami. So, but it's like probably like when we was like around the time when you was still in school together, I was like big LeBron fan. And on that time, it's
I
like,
had them LeBron tens. Them was the white with the black and the red, the Jordan type colors. But I swear I'm still a LeBron fan. I had them
I mean,
10. I remember. He was my
like,
boy.
yeah,
Comparing
nah,
him
but
to the
it's like
GOAT, no, man.
yeah, it's like when you compare him to like somebody of a Michael Jordan, like somebody who done it all. Like you look at his '88 season, like he won MVP, Defensive Player of the Year. Not how many people you could say done it except him. He's one of the few that can say that he could hold that honor. Could say that I won a Finals MVP. I'm the 6-time Finals MVP. Like you think about it, like the most like the MVP war itself today is named after Michael Jordan.
That's true.
So it's like
And
now like you then or better yet, it's like his impact that LeBron has an impact, but his impact is nowhere near Mike impact. Like Mike impact has led to people making millions of dollars, including LeBron's. Like
indeed,
everybody, even that, like the way the game's played. Like I'm saying, like if you look at all these fancy layups, Jordan had a role in that. Like if you go back and just watch Jordan layup things, he was doing jelly layups before jelly was a thing.
yeah,
Like years
that's
before
true.
jelly was a thing.
Way
You know,
before that, he
so even
pioneered it.
then, yeah, it's like he's one of the pioneers for that. And he played at a thing where everybody gave their all. It's like, if it was like a chance to show out, he was so competitive. Like any chance he could get to compete, he competed. Like dunk contest winner, he competed in that. All star, he was competitive in that. He even like, or better yet, like you look at his team. And one thing I've done, and I did look at his team, like I look at Scottie Pippen. So I hear the Scottie Pippen debates, like, oh, Scottie Pippen helped Mike. Well, one time in the finals, Scottie Pippen averaged over 20 points. Then my friend, one thing he said that Scottie did all that, but it's like, Mike averaged more assists. He had more points and more assists. Yeah, Scottie had defensive points, but Scottie averaged 19 points in all 6 finals. Jordan averaged 33, including Jordan still has the career average right now for the highest average points in the final with 41 points per game.
Yeah, that's another thing. See, Jordan, he was an explosive player, and it got to the point where he was like one of the biggest explosive players in the league at a time where people was, just playing regular ball. You know what I mean? It's definitely tough, but he added flavor to it. I ain't gonna lie. Like the way, even when he dunked with his tongue out, had a gold chain around his neck. You know what I'm saying? A whole
Hey,
different flavor. You know what I mean? So, and I think
yeah,
I think really though, that swag that Jordan left is what created LeBron. Cause now the NBA, like, we need somebody, we need
yeah.
another star. We need somebody because Jordan was bigger than everybody, bro.
You think about it. I mean, don't get me wrong. Like Magic Johnson, and Larry Bird, it was. I know the first shoe wasn't theirs, but they kind of like they was like one of the pioneers with the shoes. But Jordan took the endorsement NBA level to a whole nother thing, to a whole nother level. And I
Exactly.
remember I was just watching an interview on Jordan. And he was speaking on it, and I think he spoke some facts on it. He was like, back in his day, they had to earn their endorsements. Like endorsement wasn't just given out to them. Versus nowadays, players come to the league with endorsements. So it's like they don't.
Right. That's the thing. Yeah. That's the truth. He was a hustler back then. Cause bro, you even know, even after he followed up and did his thing, pioneered the NBA, man's went to the White Sox. He's
Yeah,
still
so
doing it. You know what I mean?
I think
So
you think
even
about
now,
it,
he's still coaching. You know what I mean? Stuff like that.
and you
That's
think
what's
about
up,
like
man.
two of the biggest brands synonymous with sports. Jordan was like the pioneer to kickstarting them with Gatorade and Nike. Like they
That's
was
true.
built on the back of Jordan. Like no offense, like I said, LeBron signed $1 billion deal with Nike. it's like when you think about it, well, Nike got big because everybody wanted to rock Jordans. Everybody was in a. It's to this day when it's still lines across the door that it's still lines that be around the corner just to get some new J's. Like you never heard of a place, you never heard of LeBron selling out. You never heard of us. You never went to a shoe store and said, "Oh, we don't have no LeBrons and stuff." They always got LeBrons.
Capping out for no LeBrons.
No, but they're not
we
capping
get
out.
We get them.
Yeah. I mean, one time I bought my little brother a pair of LeBrons that I didn't even know till I got home. Like for his birthday, I just thought they was some shoes, regular shoes. But that happens, But at some point in everybody life, they all owned a pair of Jordans, And even to this day, like they still keep tracks of Jordans. Like you think about that, you think about where Gatorade has come from, like all the Gatorade athletes. Like you think like, well, Gatorade started like on the back of Mike. So it's like you can't take away the you could say whatever you want about LeBron. I mean, he's good as that, but Jordan transcended the game. Like he made the game worth watching. Like Magic and Larry made the game famous, national. They took the game to national level, but Jordan took it global level. It's to a point like
indeed.
Like you can. Yeah, it's like like to this day, everybody still wants to be like Mike. It's almost like you can't name
even LeBron. You see in the new Looney Tunes movie.
Yeah,
he shouldn't even touch that. He shouldn't even touch that. Really.
I felt like it was better. Honestly, I would have preferred them to go with like a Jordan Brand athlete, athlete that's like actually like a Blake Griffin or a Russell Westbrook. Well, Blake Griffin probably would have did wonders because he's good for it. He was a good actor, and he's good for those things. So, or Russell Westbrook, for that. But definitely Jordan though, like he's big on that. I mean, we're gonna talk more about that, but some other sports, like what's some of the sports you're into though?
Honestly, man, I like soccer, bro. I mean, from Argentina, that's one of my favorite teams. Barcelona, fucking what is it? South Africa, bro. Like soccer. Lionel Messi.
I just got into soccer, so it's like, and I'm just starting to get into soccer heavy. So I've been talking to a friend of mine, and he told me about this documentary, and I've been watching it. It's called Welcome to Wrexham. So it's about the Wrexham League, and it is because it's something like what I'm doing, and I got into it like pretty much on the video game because like I'm learning about the regulation stuff. So it's like one of my things with a video game is like I started with a Crew Alexandria. So there was like an FC24 there, like in English leagues too. So it's like and it's something that amazed me. Like you can play well. Like at the end of the league, at the end of the day, you get promoted. So like now I got the promoted to English League 1. Now I got them in the English Championship League. It's like and if I do have one more good season with them, they're gonna be in the Premier League. And that's like amazement to me. Like you can go from a bottom tier league to the Premier just from playing well. So, and that's one thing I'm like, it's like, and it's hard to tank. Like you don't want to tank. Like you don't want to be bad because you could get relegated as well. So like I'm getting into the soccer. Right now, one of my favorite players, he plays for Real Madrid, Mbappe. So I'm looking forward to him in the World Cup. I think the World Cup is going to be in the USA. So probably going to try to see if I can find some tickets. Oh yeah, it's going to be here.
Today. Look, we go get it, bro. We going live there.
Yeah, I'm definitely looking forward. I want to definitely want to see France play. Want to see Mbappe because I know the last World Cup he was like, he was going crazy. My friend was putting me onto him, like telling me like how how he played for PSG with Ronaldo and them, and he was like still that guy on that team.
Oh yeah, bro. Ronaldo, he one of the best, bro. And I love soccer because I went to Lane Tech. And they got like this crazy soccer field, huge soccer field, you know what I mean? And I ain't gonna front to you, man. It got to the point where I didn't know how to play soccer, but I learned it. And it's a full body sport. You got to use your whole body, man. But of course, not the hands. But you know what I mean. You running, you know what I mean. You really got to use your teammates. I love it, man. I definitely can't wait to see that World Cup.
Yeah, I can't wait for it. Actually, No, I actually played soccer. I tried out for my eighth grade team, so I actually made the team, but I never played, due to other issues. But but definitely though, soccer is definitely one of those sports that's good. And I'm glad that you mentioned Lane Tech because I was actually doing some research on a Chicago, well, on the Chicago Skyday draft pick, and which led me to looking at the coaching list. And it turns out that I don't know if he's currently the head coach for Lane Tech, but I know like for the past couple of years, though prior to this year, one of Lane Tech head coach was assistant coach for the USA Summit team. So it's like, which was
You
dope
was
to me.
telling us that. You was telling us that because I graduated 2016. I was class 2016, but it was a guy named Dominic Coleman. He was like right hand man with the coach. You know, and he was basically the star player. Point guard, all that good stuff. He a brother like us. He hooping on the team with all them
Yeah,
non-brothers. You get what
I
I
mean,
mean? So he was a
yeah,
starter. He used to let me know, you know what I mean? All this stuff. Like he was really connected. I'm like, man,
yeah.
that's what's
It's
up.
like, oh yeah, for sure. It's like I'm looking at like, okay, Lane Tech, I know like this, and I know how that goes. I'm like, wow, but it's like, because for me, it's like it's amazing. Like, okay, that like I said, I love bragging that Chicago is the mecca of basketball. And Joakim Noah has said it himself. Because you think about Chicago, you think about the toughness that we bring, and you look at guys like Matas. You even look at Ayo Dosumo,
Exactly.
who at one point, even though he went to Westinghouse for his freshman year, and he was, and my friends telling me about him, that you look at the way they play, and it's like they reminisce Chicago ball. Like it tells you, like it shows toughness. Like anybody from Chicago that played like basketball in Chicago, like know has to get to the hoop. Because it's like it playing like in the air, man. Like you have to be able to absorb
Guaranteed.
contact.
Because
'Cause
look,
ain't no
look at D
fouls.
Rose, man. He got from the
It's,
league, changed the game.
he changed. Look, he
Oh
changed the
yeah.
game so much. He played Chicago so fun. Like even Wade had to come back to Chicago just because of the Rose impact. Because he wanted that Chicago introduction.
Exactly. Exactly. Look, man. Oh yeah. Straight
Oh
up.
yeah,
Because when D Rose was in the league, I ain't gonna lie to you, man. They looking at this guy. They thinking he ain't finna dunk. They think he ain't finna take it there. He taking it there with force for real. You know what I mean? That's how we hoop in Chicago. It's concrete courts. You know what I mean? That's what
yeah. I
we
mean,
got
for
going
sure.
on. So yeah, Chicago itself is just
I mean, it's a
like
big.
city. So we always we the America city first city that they got right.
Yeah, the biggest, especially
Yeah,
I always say because it goes back to that because
yeah, man.
back
I
to the days
swear.
like when Chicago was the center, like well when I know Chicago is the center of a U.S. The most important city in U.S. because in order to get from the west side, in order to get from the western part of the United States to the eastern United States, you had to go through Chicago, especially using through our railroad stations. So I know that part from history class. So it's like then you think about it like now, like look at the importance of it. Like and then you look at basketball, like with Jordan, his impact on Chicago basketball. Like it's a whole lot of Jordan X players. Like I said, you could definitely tell like that. But definitely but question though, football. You've been paying attention to the Bears?
You said it again. I'm breaking up. My bad, man.
It's okay. I was saying with football, you been paying attention to like the Bears?
Honestly, I haven't been watching, man. Only because I'm working this full time job, man. I'm the fry cook at Joe Oscar. And I'm in a deli. I started off just a clerk, but now they got me, frying the chicken, and they be needing me
Oh
there
yeah.
all the time. Sometimes, plus I live right up the street,
Oh
catching
yeah, for
all the
sure.
overtime. But man, what's been going on?
Much like I said, we gonna catch up right after the show ends, which is gonna end in a moment. But with best, I mean, like I said, got this show going on. This one of the new things with been dealing with been in school, so having fun with this. Everything, it's like I said, just been a blessing. Just
I'm
been
talking about
having
the
fun.
Bears. What happened with the Bears?
Oh yeah, the Bears.
I know you doing you.
The Bears. They're unlike the
My
Bulls.
bad.
They actually got a better. They got a better offense. I mean, they got a better coach. And the Bulls, their coach is. Which I'm gonna speak more about it next episode. On the Bulls coach and why I think they should get rid of him if hopefully they fire him by then, but most likely not. But now the Bears, they actually got a coach that's worth winning. Who has the crowd excited, like a lot of fans, like including me, like we're excited about him. We seen what he did last year. He was the offensive coordinator for the number one offense with the Detroit Lions. So hopefully his offensive schemes can help the Bears out. Then we got a defensive coordinator with go by the name of Dennis Allen, who was a defensive stalwart. During his time, he had the defensive for New Orleans Saints looking good. Then like our running backs coaches, Eric Bieniemy, who's notoriously tough. Then obviously we got a guy who's fun fact who by the name of Cal Mungai from Rutgers, who had 3 touchdowns against UCLA, which Eric Bieniemy was the offensive coordinator, and Cal also he finished his whole career with no college career with no fumbles, which is something that Eric Bieniemy teaches. He's known for like teaching his players to tuck the ball. He's tough on them about that. And, he has great rave reviews from the likes of Tariq Hills, Patrick Mahomes, a lot of his professional players that played under him, love the guy and they love his toughness and all that. Even with Al Harris, he has he's been told you hear from him, you hear from other safeties and all that how he's good at getting his defensive backs to work and all that. So it's like with the Bears, like they made all the right moves. On paper, it looks like okay, we're actually gonna be better. We have our franchise quarterback, we have weapons around him, we have a line to protect him. We have a defensive line, we have a defensive coach that know how to coach. We have players, we have people, we have personnel that knows about football and that knows what they're doing. So that's like the biggest news with the Bears. Obviously their excitement. Like I said, so I'm excited about that. Like I said, I haven't been this excited since the Justin Fields draft. So I'm super excited for preseason. Can't wait to watch it. As I spoke on that, like I'm gonna be definitely waiting for the rookies. Want to see how the rookies perform and all that. Can't wait for mini camps. I'm keeping my phone posted every day. I'm even looking at around other mini camps to see how the other teams are. But for sure, I'm finna we're gonna wrap up the show today.
You feel like? Oh, okay.
No, you can ask your question before we wrap up.
Appreciate you for having me, man. Oh yeah, all right. Before we go, since we got this new coach, we got a good set of linemen, we got new rookies. You think he can lead us to the Super Bowl, man, this time? This year coming up, man. What you think our chance?
I don't think
in a couple years we need a little effort.
I don't think this year he won't do well because like you don't want to Rome wasn't built in a day, so it's like you can't we're just coming off from being a bad team. You can't expect us to go from bad to good. Yeah, but it's like we're not far from it though.
Yeah, because last year we weren't. Everybody was telling me I should be watching.
Yeah, that was just horrible. That offensive line wasn't worth nothing watching. That offensive line made us bad. Our defense tried, but it's like, offense wasn't as good as it could have been. But definitely though, it's like, until we get on the team, like the excitement is like it's gonna always be excitement because, like I said, this is a sports city. That's loved that. So we're definitely gonna be excited. But definitely we're gonna wrap up this show. We're gonna have I'm gonna see you guys next week. Same time, we're gonna have fun. And we're gonna definitely have some more information about the Bulls head coaching, about why I think he should go if he's not already fired. We're gonna take a look into the sky to see how their preseason is gonna have more information about them. So definitely look inside it. And Dolo, I'm gonna talk to you shortly after so we can catch up on more. But definitely see you though.
All right, man. I appreciate you for having me on, man. Hopefully I'll be on when you get to talk about the sky, man. Because Angel Reese, she one of my favorites,
All right,
yeah,
for sure.
man. Due time.
All right.